Hello, pre-algebra students. We're now moving on to multi-step equations. So we're going to keep using our properties of equality. We're going to reverse the operations using inverses. So I thought this was a cute equation, and I think that's probably what would happen if my cats found a fish. And I like this kid. He cracks me up. Just a darn minute. Yesterday you said x equals 2. Well, remember, x can equal anything at any moment, and it's up to you to find that value of x. So let's talk about how we're going to do that with multi-step equations. Multi-step equation contains two or more operations. To solve a multi-step equation, you're going to use your properties of equality still to undo each operation in reverse order of the order of operations. So you're going to use the properties of equality to undo each operation in reverse order of the order of operations. When we say the order of operations, yes, we are referring to our old friend PEMDAS. So when you're solving a multi-step equation, you're usually going to do an addition subtraction step first, a multiplication and division step second. The parentheses and the exponents don't really come in, but you're basically using that order of operations in reverse. So we're going to both translate and solve this equation. A number is multiplied by 3, then 9 is added. The result is 33. So let's get our equation. And I actually made an image for that, so let me go grab it. There it is. 3a plus 9 equals 33. A number is multiplied by 3. Sorry, had to pause it for the PA system. Anyway, a number is multiplied by 3, then 9 is added. The result is 33, and that's what we have here. Now, I want you to think about A's journey. First, he was multiplied by 3, then 9 was added to the result. Now, what we have to do is undo that. We're going to undo that in reverse. So we have two different methods. We have our horizontal and our vertical methods. I'm going to start with vertical, which is going to look similar to what you saw in your video, for the properties of equality. Remember, working backwards. So A was multiplied by 3, and then 9 was added. So we're going to undo the added 9 first. So we're going to subtract 9 from each side. That's going to give me 3a equals 24. The next thing that happened to A was that it was multiplied by, the previous thing happened to A that was multiplied by 3, so we're going to reverse that by dividing by 3. And that results in A equals 8. Now let's do the same thing, but let's use the horizontal method. So this time we're going to start off again by subtracting 9. But instead of showing it straight up and down, we're going to show it horizontally. Now, plus 9 minus 9, right here, plus 9 minus 9 cancels out, and I just have 3a on that side. And 33 minus 9 is 24. Now the next part looks exactly the same because we do not use the old school division symbol anymore. Don't want to see it? Please don't write it. Use the fraction bar. Trust me, you will get used to it. It's better for you anyway. I prefer the vertical method, okay? LeCompte prefers the vertical method, but if you like the horizontal method, go with it. And if you want to see more problems done with the horizontal method, you can tell me and I'll do that in class. However, I am a vertical girl, so I'm going to use the vertical method throughout the rest of the video. Feel free as we go along to pause the video, solve the equation yourself, and then continue watching to see the solution and the check. Now, we haven't done the check yet at this point, so I'm going to go ahead and get a different color real quick, and we're going to check our solution. Now this is very important. We should always be checking our solution. I believe we did that throughout our video for the properties of equality. So 3 times 8 is 24. 24 plus 9 is indeed 33. I have checked my solution, and I know my solution, found either way, is correct. All right, moving on. Remember, you're allowed to pause it, try it, and then continue viewing for the solution. But I'm not going to wait, I'm going to jump right in. So we have negative 6x plus 1 equals 21. So we're going to start off by reversing the plus 1. That was the second thing that happened to x. Okay, you're unraveling x. Negative 6x equals 20. Now note with the properties of equality, when you use the subtraction property of equality, you're doing it once to each side. Once on the left, once on the right. I can put my little T-bar down there if I want to make sure I'm separating it correctly. When it comes to multiplying and dividing, you also do it once on each side, but it's the whole side that gets divided. Notice that here we have a coefficient that's a negative 6. We're going to divide by a negative 6 to solve that. We're not going to use a positive 6. We want positive x, not negative x. So I want to use my integer rule. So in my coefficient here, coefficient, good word, coefficient, when that coefficient is negative, make sure you do divide by the negative. Now over here, I did give you something that doesn't divide evenly, but note what you have. That's a fraction. Cut both those numbers in half. You have negative 10/3, negative 10/3, or negative 3 1/3. Now when you go to check that, use the improper fraction. A negative times a negative is a positive. We simplify a little bit, and we end up with a positive 20, plus 1 in the rest of the equation does equal 21. So I know I've done it correctly, and I know I have the correct answer right here. Let's do the next one. 4 times y minus 5 equals negative 33. And again, what's y's journey? First he was multiplied by 4, then 5 was subtracted. So work backwards. Add the 5 back first. Once on each side. So minus 5 plus 5 cancels out, and we have 4y equals negative 28. Again, once on each side. Divide off the 4. This one divides nicely and evenly, so y equals negative 7. Go back and check. 4 times negative 7 minus 5. 4 times negative 7 is negative 28. Negative 28 minus 5, negative 33. Remember, when we're subtracting from a negative, we get more negative. So I know I did that correctly. Since I have holiday colors on one side, I'll do Halloween colors on the other side. Let's keep going. Okay, now we have a different combination of operations. Now I have division and addition or subtraction. So let's start here with this one. We have p is divided by 5, then minus 12 gives you 20. So first, we're going to undo the minus 12 by adding 12 to each side. So notice so far in every one of these problems, we've done an addition or subtraction step first. That gives me p divided by 5 equals 32. Now, if division is what you see, you're going to solve that using multiplication. Again, we're undoing what was done to p. If p was divided by 5, we want to multiply by 5. And this is the way I want to see it. Cancel your 5s, and then multiply. And again, you go back and you check. 160 divided by 5 minus 12, does that equal 20? 160 divided by 5 would be 32 minus 12, 20. I know I got it right. Circle my answer, or my solution, excuse me. Good, next one. This time we have negative n over 2 plus 6 equals 11. Don't let the negative throw you. We're still going to do things in the order in which we, in reverse order in which they happened. So we have divide by 2, and then we have plus 6. So we're going to subtract 6 first. So we have negative n over 2 equals 11 minus 6 is 5. Now at this point, we know that we want to multiply. So I'm going to put my parentheses in. What kind of 2 should we multiply by? Now I see that negative there, and I'm not sure what to do with it. What I want to remember is that a negative times a negative will give me the positive that I'm looking for. I'm looking for positive n here. So I need to multiply by a negative so that the 2 negatives on that side can cancel out. So that those 2 negatives can cancel out. Ooh, iTunes Radio, that is not... There we go. Let's do a better choice. I was not enjoying the choice iTunes Radio was giving me. Let me use yellow. Notice this. Negative times negative, positive. So this comes out to be n. And what did we multiply by? A negative 2. Because that part has to be the same on the left and on the right. N equals negative 10. So when we check this one, it's a little bit more complicated. Or at least it looks a little more complicated. These 2 negatives that you see right here, this one, which was out front, and then the negative 10 of plugging in that value for n, they're going to cancel each other out. And that's going to give me a positive 10 over 2, which is 5, plus 6, which does equal 11, which is what we were supposed to get on that other side, and we know we have our solution correct. I'm going to show you 2 different methods. So this first one, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do, we've got 9 minus t. Now that's complicated, minus t. That's really awkward. So that's a little confusing, but let's keep going with what we've been doing before. Now I want to get the t by itself. Let's get rid of the 9. Now be careful. It's 9 minus t, not minus 9. So you do want to have a negative there. It's the opposite of the sign that you don't see, but it's implied here. We know that's a positive 9. The opposite would be minus 9. So we are going to get rid of that by subtracting 9. Now that leaves me, again, be careful, negative t. Negative t, weird, negative t. Negative t equals negative 43. Yeah. All right, now, that's like saying negative 1t. So how could I get rid of that negative 1? I can divide by negative 1, giving me t equals positive 43. And I can check that. 9 minus 43, does that equal negative 34? Yes, indeed it does. But that might be a little bit confusing, the way that we did that. So let's try it a different way. You can add and subtract variables to both sides of an equation, just like you can add and subtract numbers. So why not, instead of doing what we did before, why not add t to each side? Now that gives me 9 equals either negative 34 plus t. Oh, that's not right. Hold on. Pretend I didn't write that. Let's try that again. Sorry. Okay, that gives me either negative 34 plus t or t minus 34 equals 9, or 9 equals. So now I can add 34 to each side. Okay, I didn't put in my t-bars, I apologize. Giving me 43. Well, that's odd. This must be an instrumental version. Anyway, 43 equals t. All right, last 2 examples in this video coming right up. Okay, so these look quite a bit different, but remember, we're going to follow the journey that the variable took, and we're going to go back through and undo that journey. So let's look at this one. D minus 3, then divide by 2 equals 8. So, working backwards, we are not doing a multiplication, we're not doing an addition subtraction step first, we're doing a multiplication or division step first. In this case, multiplication. So this is the good old exception to the rule. Okay, foreign language students know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to exceptions to the rules, because you end up having to memorize a whole different rule set for one verb or something like that. So let's try this out. So this time we've got to undo the division first. So we're going to multiply first. It's once on each side. The divide by 2 here and this times 2 are going to cancel out. You are not going to use the 2 again. So you now have d minus 3 equals 16. Then you're going to undo the subtraction by adding. And d equals 19. Go back and check. 19 minus 3, divide by 2, that's 16. Divide by 2, does that equal 8? It surely does. And we have our solution. Same idea on the next one. Multi-step, because this one actually is going to be solved with 3 steps instead of 2. Again, we want to get rid of the last thing that happened to g. So let's look at g's journey. Times negative 2, then plus 8, then divide by 3. First undo the divide by 3 by multiplying by 3. And remember, once on the left, once on the right, they cancel. Negative 2g plus 8 is equal to negative 18, which looks a whole lot like the equations that we had on previous slides in this video. I'm going to subtract 8 next. Negative 26, negative 2g. I'm going to divide by negative 2. And at this point, you should be getting into a bit of a rhythm. You should be getting comfortable with this concept. Going to go ahead and check that answer real quick. Negative 2 times 13 is negative 26. Negative 26 plus 8 is negative 18. Negative 18 divided by 3 is negative 6. I know I got my answer right. All right, folks. Remember to take out your IXL and look for your multi-step equations. I promise it will get easier, but only with practice. See you in class.